All right, so let's create a table. If you remember to go to our Postgres database, we simply write PSQL and then our database name, and we'll enter the database. And now we can communicate with it using SQL. Now let's create a table. How can we do that? Again, SQL comes with some language syntax that we can use. And to create a table, we can use something like this. We say create table, which is an SQL command. We enter a table name, followed by brackets. And then we say what we want the column 1 to say with the data type, column 2 with the data type, column 3 with the data type, and then ending it with semicolon. Let me just press enter and see what happens here. I get an error. Data type does not exist. And that is because data type is referring to what Postgres or our relational database knows. We have to say ahead of time what type of data column 1, column 2, and column 3 hold. If we go back to our Chrome browser, we see that for Postgres, we have a few data types that we can hold. String data types, numeric data types, and date and time data types. And each one of them have different things. For a numeric data type, we have integer, which is a 4-byte integer. We have big int, which allows for a bigger number. And all these different things, we have even money, which is currency value. And the reason we have to give this data type is because of the way databases work. They're optimized to make sure that as long as everything is the same in their column, they're able to work really, really fast to perform actions. In our case, let's use some of the most common ones. We can use text for the first column. So let's do that. I'm going to press the up arrow and get create table. I'm also going to name this table. Let's call it users. And column 1 will be name. Data type can be text. Column 2, we can say that is age. And data type for an age, well, if we look down here, we look at numeric types, we want to use something like small int, which is a 2-byte signed integer. It means that a max for a small int, if I go to small int max, we see that the max range is 32,762. Well, nobody's going to be that old, right? So we can use small int for now. Let's do that. I'm going to say age is small int. And finally, the third column will just have birthday. And birthday can be a date data type. And we can just have date. Let's press enter. And I get create table. Let's look at our PSQL here. I'm going to minimize this. And if I click refresh here, I see that we have users. Look at that. And we have columns for the table users, that is name, age, birthday. It tells us the type and the length. So now we have our table. Awesome. There's also a way to do it here. If we do \d, I get list of relations. And look at that. We have our users table and the owner, which is me. Very cool. There you go. We've created our first table. Now that we have this, we can start entering some information. And by the way, you might be asking, how many times do we run these commands? Well, ideally, once you create your database and it lives somewhere on a computer, somewhere in the world, you only run this once, right? You create a table of what you want your database to look like, and the rest is just filling in and inserting information and reading information off of it. So this is the command that we're going to set up when we create our own database to set up our schemas. And then after that, it'll just run on its own and it'll be able to communicate with the backend. It's going to be very fun. By the way, before we get into the next video, I want to show you one more command. We learned the /d shows us our tables. If I do /q, we exit out of here and we're back to the terminal. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.